All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, November the 29th, 2022. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Hi. Happy, what is it? National Throw Your Turkey Leftovers.
Throw your Thanksgiving leftovers. Throw out your leftovers day. National Throw Out Your Leftovers Day. So
I think I have a few words. We might be missing a word.
Well, that's what you told me it was. So
I probably did.
Yeah. So I have some leftover pecan pie, so I'm just going to throw that out right now.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
Threw it out right in my mouth. There you go.
Well, what is your favorite leftover for Thanksgiving?
My favorite leftover, honestly,
is it the pie?
No. Well, kind of. The pies are a close second. Pecan, pumpkin, apple. I eat them constantly. My favorite leftover is I always make that big, huge charcuterie meat plate.
Okay.
All different Italian meats and cheeses and stuff. I always make it way too big, so I have a good solid week of them left. Yeah.
Okay.
I know damn well no more than half of it's going, and it's just going to be me eating it the rest of the other days. So, but I mean, the turkey and the stuffing, we always make too much stuffing so that we can keep eating that.
Oh constantly. Yeah. To me, the stuffing is a star, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do an apple sausage stuffing.
Mm-hmm. We talked about it last week.
Right, and the apple almond soup, and you take them out of that of some nice warm stuffing in the middle of the bowl, and you surround it with the soup, and
it's great.
Oh my god, it's so good.
We do that. We do sausage sage stuffing.
Yeah, that's classic. And
then we usually do pumpkin soup with Italian sausage in it. So we kind of do the same thing. Throw some of the stuffing. I never put it in a bowl and put it around it, but I have just like broken off pieces of the stuffing and thrown it into the soup. It's pretty good. Pecan pie is phenomenal. It's very good.
You get it at Delicious Orchards?
Yep.
Made it?
Yep.
Good. Nice. Mm-hmm.
None but the best. So what are you eating over there?
Something that I'm not very pleased about. I'll tell you that right now.
What's that?
This is John Starodumsky's fault. Anybody who knows me knows that I love Spam. Mm-hmm. I put Spam in a lot of things. I really enjoy Spam. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, was it last year, a couple of years ago, they came up with that pumpkin spice Spam, and I stayed away from that. I was smart enough to stay away from that.
I thought it was a joke.
No, it wasn't a joke. I know
that now, but when it first came out, I thought it was like, because they made all those jokes, pumpkin spice.
Everything.
Pumpkin spice 1030 weight oil.
That's right.
That clearly was a joke.
Well, I wish this would have been a joke because John Starodumsky, thank you, John, for bringing it to my attention. And I was probably drunk at the time when I ordered it. Mm-hmm. But they now have figgy pudding Spam.
What's the point of that?
Gimmick.
Clearly.
And I can tell you, it's really just Spam with like a shit ton of cloves.
Spam with a shit ton of cloves. That sounds gross.
Yeah. Oh, and I knew I was in trouble the second I took it out of the can. Mm-hmm. I took it out of the can, and it looked like something that came out of one of my dogs after a long bout of constipation.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That's definitely gross.
It's gross. It's I know it's probably rude of me to say something like that on the show.
No, I mean gross, rude. I mean any of that. I mean it's not rude of you to say that it's gross. Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well,
I mean, unless you could think of another word for rude or gross. I mean,
vulgar.
Vulgar is a good word. Vulgar is
a good word.
It is. It's a vulgar. It's a vulgar food. A vulgar canned food.
It's a vulgar description.
Vulgar description.
Of the canned food.
Of that canned food, yeah.
But not everything vulgar is gross.
Not everything vulgar is gross. Vulgar, nope. Vulgar. There's a lot of vulgar that's good.
Yeah. I had some beer
recently.
I went to New Hampshire. Remember when I ran took the run up to New Hampshire?
This is what we call a segue, folks.
Yes, it's a segue. And I went to Hill Farmstead and Schilling, and gotta love those places. But the surprise star on the trip was a brewery called Vulgar Brewing.
Vulgar Brewing in New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire.
Very good. Franklin, New Hampshire, as a matter of fact.
Franklin, New Hampshire, which is just one town west of it's where was that? That's where Carrie's brother lived.
The town that's east of Franklin.
Yes, it's just west of the town that's east of Franklin.
Right, exactly.
Tilton. That's what.
Tilton, New Hampshire. There you go. All right. So, well, as luck would have it,
as luck would have. No, I think we planned this one.
I know. It's like our guests on the show tonight.
Oh God, I need something to wash this taste out of my mouth.
Why don't you do that? Before we do that, let's bring our guests on tonight. Please welcome to the show, Jason and Damon from co-owners of Vulgar Brewing in Franklin, New Hampshire. Hi, how's it going, guys?
Good.
How are you, gentlemen?
All right.
We
are nothing if not the masters of the segue. So,
oh yeah. You can see them coming a mile away.
Right. Of course.
So you're never going to get hit by them like the
never,
train.
Never once. So what are you pouring in that cup to get rid of that spam figgy spam taste in your mouth?
Well, I figured I needed something with some good flavor to it. So this weekend, Meathead and I stopped at a Little Dog to see Gretchen. And I got some Kuchu.
Bless you.
I think you're welcome. Actually, this funny thing is she named it after a product from a novelty store that was in Neptune, and they invented sneezing powder. And the sneezing powder was called Kuchu, so that's how this got its name.
Was it smoked sneezing powder?
No, I don't think it was smoked sneezing powder.
Yeah.
Nor was it figgy pudding sneezing powder.
No, pumpkin spice sneezing powder.
No, don't give him any ideas.
I got one more bite of my pecan pie here. Hang on one second.
Yeah, but while he's doing that, what are you eating? I'm drinking. He's eating. You're drinking. What are you drinking?
Food, you know. I think we're both drinking what Tall Man.
Tall Man.
There you go, somewhere up in there.
Tall Man.
Yeah, these are probably, I'd say it's my favorite beer that we make on a regular basis, anyways.
Yeah, my favorite of the regulars.
What is it?
It is it's a Norwegian IPA. We use a Norwegian farmhouse ale yeast in it. So
nice.
It's kind of a West Coast IPA meets a Norwegian IPA. So
very cool.
Now, when I was at the brewery, I noticed there's a bit of a Norwegian influence on the brewery.
We do enjoy the Quebec yeast, which is kind of where that comes from. So we use that fairly often, and we have it's one of our favorites. Yeah.
Well, you had a interesting dish special at the brewery that I thought was Norwegian.
Oh, you probably came when we had the Ronzolio. Was it like a roll with a cabbage in the?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I'm not sure the original. I mean, I grew up in Nebraska, so that's something that me and the wife.
Oh, it's from Nebraska. Okay.
Yeah, there's a restaurant, chain called Runza there, basically that makes that same sort of dish. I'm sure it has origins definitely overseas, but we were trying to do our best to mimic that.
But the Tall Man is delicious.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they didn't have when I was there. They didn't have any in cans, and I didn't think a growler was going to make it all the way back to Jersey. So
probably not. So I'm just taking my obligatory picture. I will be drinking for my first beer. Finally found it after about 3 years. Avery Old Jubilation.
Yeah, that's a good beer. That's a good beer.
Beautiful beer.
So good. I always look for this beer, never find it. Nobody ever had it. Total Wine up in Eatontown, not too far away from over here. Passed right by there, going to meet a couple of knuckleheads at Carton Brewing on Friday. That one of you would be. That would be.
I'd be one of those knuckleheads.
So, anyway, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. Vulgar Brewing.
Let's get into it. Oh, wow. I love this beer. Anyway, okay. So let's start it out like we always do. Both of you, whichever one wants to go first, it's up to you. We always kick it off with the same question for everybody. To the best of your recollection, what was the first craft beer you ever had?
Craft beer. Okay.
It can be an ish.
It can be an ish. It could be, I think it was.
So, for me, it's probably Arrogant Bastard.
Fair enough.
Stone Brewing. It was like I didn't drink beer through college, so this was like in grad school out in California. I went to this brewery called Alcatraz Brewing Company in Orange. They are no longer in existence, but they brewed their own beer, and I saw this beer and I was like, Arrogant Bastard, what the hell does that mean? Like this is a weird beer name,
right?
And I ordered that, and they were like, "You realize that we didn't brew this, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Like I'll try that though." And that is the beer that kind of opened my mind to what craft beer can be. I've never tasted anything like that. So that was probably the one for me.
That's definitely a jump feet first into
right.
into
I wonder,
craft beer. So.
Wonder how many breweries actually made their name and became big because of the name of the beer. Right, you picked up Arrogant Bastard because of the name.
Yep.
The first von Weyerbacher I ever picked up was Blithering Idiot.
Blithering Idiot,
yep. Which is a fantastic name, right? You just got to try something named Blithering Idiot, and even Dead Guy from Rogue,
right?
You know, the first Rogue I ever had. So these names, you know, I think did get people to buy them, but you also have to have a quality product to back it up.
Sure,
so.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
More on beer names with odd twists later.
Anyway, we also do we do segues and foreshadowing here.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, Damon, yours.
Mine. Okay, so the ish that got me into more craft beers would be Killian's Irish Red. Not really a craft beer in any way, shape, or form, even at the time. But I would say, was Boulevard Wheat. Was kind of because I grew up in the Midwest, so it was kind of the one that jumped me in. You know, they just got to the area, and Fat Tire would probably be the other one. Those could go hand in hand. They had, you know, being close to Colorado where I grew up, they just hit Nebraska, and everybody was all excited about it. So
sure. And
we had a local brewery in the town. I think it's still around, called Thunderhead, that, you know, kind of got me into that as well. So
I think I've actually heard of them.
Tom's talked about them on the show before. Yeah.
That's right. Tom's talked about them. We've got a regular guest on the show who is out in Missouri.
Okay.
Obviously not too far from Springfield because he's part of their Springfield Brewing Company's.
He's right. He's right close to Springfield. Yeah. And he's talked about Thunderhead before. He'll take his trips and he'll go, you know, through Missouri, at Kansas, Nebraska, boom, back down. So, but anyway, so it's cool. That's awesome. Those, I don't think we've had either of those, Arrogant Bastard or Boulevard Wheat, as answers before. So that's great.
Yeah, those are or Killian's.
Our age. I don't know.
I know, huh? Like, I can't even remember the last time I've had one now.
Oh, Dave and I are young too. You know, I mean, we like, you know, Dogfish had 60 minutes was our first.
Drink those beers.
It's funny about Arrogant Bastard. It actually, back in the day when I was on Beer Advocate all the time, I did a review of a Stone beer, and I got into argument with somebody called Arrogant Bastard 1.
Did you do a review of a Stone beer or a review of a beer stoned?
No, I wasn't stoned at the time. Maybe a little drunk. And this one user, Arrogant Bastard 1, starts arguing with me. I'm like, great, I'm in an argument with a fanboy. At one point, they were very technical about their reply, and they did sign it Pete. Oh. And that's when I realized I was arguing with Pete Koch about his own damn beer. That's when you see the surgeon to get the foot out of your mouth.
Yeah, surgically remove your foot from your mouth.
God. One of my bright shining moments in craft beer.
Gotta love it. So anyway, all right. So what either of you, Jason, if you want to start, you did already with the question before. What got you into brewing? What kicked off your interest in, hey, I got to start brewing beer?
Okay, so I recently moved to Texas at the time. I really like drinking craft beers. I was like saving labels and cataloging and just doing lots of my own ratings and things like that. And so I didn't know anyone in Texas. And my wife was like, you should join a homebrew club. And I was like, I don't want to make the beer. I just want to drink beer. So that seems stupid to me. And she was like, well, don't you think these people want others to try their beer and like give them notes and tell them what you think about the beer? And I was like, I could drink beer for free. I will go join the homebrew club. So I really went to the homebrew club with the intention of, I'm just going to drink your beer. I'm not here to make beer. And this guy named Scott Townsend kind of said, no, come over here. Let me walk you through this process. This is how we do this. This is called fly sparging, and this is what we're going to do here. And he made me do it. And I was like, this is kind of neat. And I've always been a science person. And so I just kind of started getting into it and liking that. And it just kind of, the bug sort of just bit me. And I was like, all right, let's make some beers. So yeah, that's what it was. It was like, I just wanted to drink. And they kind of just wouldn't let me. So,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now you said
I had to participate, I guess.
Right, I had to participate. Yeah.
Now you said you were into science. Was you said, and you also mentioned you went on grad school in California. Was that for science?
No, I actually went for film and television production. But
There you go.
Hence the reason there's this perfectly, thing behind this.
Yeah, we failed to introduce the third member of the crew here. Why don't you guys introduce him for us?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
This is Flip.
He's Flip.
Flip the bird.
Yeah.
There it is.
Flip the bird. There you go.
Yeah.
He's got a little piece of barley in his beak, and he's kind of our mascot slash marketing guy.
There you go. All right.
He's very well dressed for a marketing.
Yes.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Most marketing
He's a
guys.
marketing
dress like
guy
John.
from the. He's a marketing guy from the 40s. You know? That's. There you go. You watch Mad Men. I mean, come on, they were all.
Oh, I was going to go with League of Their Own. Well, that would be more than.
It's kind of like the muscle, if you get a line, you get a knock on the door from Flip the Bird, you know.
Oh, you gotta love it. All right, Damon, your backstory, if you will, brewing wise.
I guess what got me into brewing and craft beer was already in when I lived in Nebraska because of the brewery I talked about and all that, and my wife's father, so my father-in-law, was home brewing, and so when I moved to Texas, it was a Christmas gift to get me a little Mr. Beer kit. Made one batch. It was terrible. I was like, I've had better beer. I know there can be better beer out there, so let's figure out. And then I just kind of went all in and on the internet at the time, news groups and everything like that, just to find out all the information I could. And then joined that homebrew club, and that's actually where I ended up meeting Jason. Was at a Christmas party in that homebrew club. We kind of connected or whatever. Yeah, had a good time.
In Texas?
There's lots of beer at our Christmas beer party at a homebrew club.
Was that in Texas?
We connected as well. So
in Texas,
In Texas.
Yeah.
Where? What part of Texas were you guys in?
Here's the Dallas area.
In Dallas.
No, we know some folks there.
We know some folks here.
Yeah, it's amazing, John. One of these days we have to go back through all the old shows and count how many times Mr. Beer has been mentioned on this show.
Oh, so many. I mean, almost. I would say way more than 50%. Probably damn close to 75% of the brewers that we've had on the show say they first made a beer on a Mr. Beer kit.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible beer, but it wasn't terrible. My buddies were like, "Oh, that's all good." I'm like, "It's because it's free. That's why you like it."
That's why it's good. Yeah, exactly. So that's great. So now you're in this homebrew club near Dallas in Texas. The two of you meet, and then where did you? Okay, you both ended up obviously in New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's a long road.
Yeah.
So Damon got a job brewing before I did. He was brewing at Cedar Creek Brewing Company, and then I got a job at Deep Ellum Brewing Company.
Nice.
And then I quickly moved to New Hampshire to do a brief stint as a teacher. So I got hired at this school over in Tilton, teaching theater, film.
One town east, which we've established.
Yeah, one town. I don't even know if it's east.
It is. You could.
It's next to Franklin.
Yeah. And it was through that school and some programs they had with the revitalization that Franklin's trying to do that I found out about this area and the opportunity to open a brewery.
Nice.
So, and then I called Damon.
Yeah, and then during the time we were in Texas, we were both big part of the homebrew club. We kind of became friends and everything, so we hung out a lot and everything. We really were actually starting to hang out quite a bit more when we decided to take the job in Tilton, and I had just helped start that brewery that was part of in Texas.
Was it Cedar Creek? You said it was.
Cedar Creek, yeah, it was about an hour southeast of Dallas. And that opportunity just didn't work out in the end, for me. So I was ready to move back to a place with seasons and climate, those sort of things. After growing up in Nebraska, I kind of missed all of that. And so this opportunity came up, and we really sold our house, developed a business plan, moved to New Hampshire, and it's like, well, worst case, if it doesn't work out, we relocated. Me and the wife is
right.
And us and our wives are the only owners. It's all four of us that own the business and everything. So
that's great.
And then that revitalization of Franklin was kind of moving. Project, was going. So everything just took longer than anticipated, as always. But obviously
I've never, ever once heard somebody say, wow, it went quicker than I thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody say it came in right on time.
I even knew that, and it was like still went longer than my, hey, it's going to take a long time plan. You know? Jack had the job in June, and we didn't open to October, so that was a rough time with no income, stuff like that.
And you guys have a beautiful location.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love one. So the door is not on the main street, but the brewery is. You've got the window. You can look into the brewery. You go through the gate onto this green, down the pathway. When we went there, I think there was a kids like baseball team or something having their party out there. That's so it's genius for the parents. Get the kids pizza because you guys serve pizza there, and and then the parents can drink the beer, and it's all in this well-contained area. It's a really neat spot that you have there, and a cool building.
Yeah.
The town was really good about like giving us, because that's a public park out there.
Yeah.
And they gave us an easement for our patio, so we can have some outdoor seating out there. Kids can go run and play. Parents can sit and play, and it's just kind of nice. It's a little odd that you have to walk through the park to get into the brewery, but it's kind of a nice feature about it too.
Yeah, I like that. And
so wait, so a town gave you an easement so you can do something?
Yeah,
that's.
This is here we go whining about Jersey.
That's like never mind.
Our town has been great. We've heard lots of stories.
So like, don't get me wrong. Some towns actually, and even in Jersey, are actually good. They want to work with you. So
we actually
to come to town.
Right.
One of our towns is actually
music out there every Thursday in the summer. The town Christmas trees in that park. They're going to be doing a lighting this Friday. So it's like
that sucks, right?
It's a nice little kind of community feel to it. So
sure.
So I am opening.
Nice.
Number two.
This one is Mr. Balloon Hands. And I put it in the most vulgar glass I have.
I like the glass.
That's cool glass. It's like a
Carrie thinks this is vulgar.
Yeah.
I just thought I thought it looked like a drinking horn, but apparently
it looks like a horn. Yeah.
Some people see something else.
Yeah, well,
no, it's so you think drinking horn, Carrie thinks eggplant.
Yeah. And wow. Okay, so I'm not joking around because we talked about the show. Like, I was up there a little while ago and we were joking around. Has it held up and that? And John and I said, we're not going to call our guests out on the show. I'm not going to say, this didn't hold up, but no lie, this held up beautifully. So describe this beer for us because I love this beer.
You did it. We like to know our.
You did it. You did it.
Yeah.
Take that, Oxygen.
Yeah.
Dio, what?
Yeah. We're pretty techie, nerdy brewers, and it's always important to make sure the customer has the best experience we can.
That's awesome.
We can always get there, but
yes, we do.
Oh no, we're not perfect. Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but explain this beer.
Oh, Mr. Balloon.
Because this thing's a rarity in New England.
Because it's pretty much a West Coast IPA is our intent. Yeah. We I don't know what's the whole story behind Mr. Balloon. It's so long ago in my head.
So Mr. Balloon Hands came about because we like the process that we use for Tall Man and how that has evolved from when we started. And we decided one of my favorite hops is
Citra?
No, Citra. Get out of here. The name of it now.
What is it? Is it a C?
The incognito one that we use. No.
Oh, Chinook.
Chinook.
Yeah.
Chinook.
It is
Right.
one of the C's.
I was blanking on that. But I love Chinook.
I was just going to start rattling off C hops, but
Yeah. So we wanted to try using Chinook in a beer, which we hadn't done yet. So we kind of said, what if we could do another West Coast beer, West Coast IPA, similar to Tall Man, but use some Chinook and some other hops and things like that. So
sure.
It's also the first time we've ever used Citra in our 3 years.
Yeah.
Really?
Have you?
You went 3 years without
That's the
using
first time I've
Citra.
ever
That's the
used
first time
commercial.
we've ever used Citra ever.
I think I've been
Wow.
brewing for 10 years. Yeah.
Because I've never used it home brewing either. So it's the first time we've ever used Citra.
Yeah.
So
this is a delicious beer. I love. You got that Pacific Northwest note to it. You've got pine. You've got grapefruit. It's even a little bit of tangerine in there. It's just it's a wonderful beer.
Yeah, it turned out great. I don't know how nerdy you want to get into the beer world, but we used concentrated hop extract of Chinook to try to give like more of that Chinook flavor, and then it also uses thiol, basically yeast from Omega Labs. They have specific West Coast yeast they do now that does this all biotransformation. We won't get that far into it, but
right.
I think it added a lot to the beer in the end, basically.
Yeah, what I love about this, I got an IPA in New England that was actually bitter. It's a hard thing to find in New England.
New England IPAs tend to be on the less bitter, sweeter side.
Yeah, a little lower on the IBUs, but this one's up there.
I'll give you a quick little anecdote here. I won't say the name of the brewery, won't say where it was, but I'm at a brewery talking to the one beer tender, if you will, BSing with him, and later on in the evening, nobody in the brewery, just the two of us. It's like a Wednesday night,
Oh, I know. This one's not a quick anecdote.
No, it's yeah, but if you don't interrupt me like this, it would be quicker anyway. Anyway, so these two 20-somethings, 21, 22-year-old guys walk in the brewery. One had been there, obviously, it was like his regular haunt. The other one was new. So the one guy walks in, gets the beer he wants, walks away, and the other guy's standing there. There's like 24 beers on tap. He's looking at all of them, and the beer tender that I was talking to walks over and says, "Can I help you narrow it down?" He says, well, yeah, I guess you can. He says, what kind of styles you like? He says, I'm a big IPA fan. I love IPAs. He says, all right, well, we have 6 IPAs. It's slow. I'll tell you what. I'll give you a taste, go through our IPAs until you find the one you like, and then I'll pour you that one. He says, sounds good. So he started them with their flagship West Coast IPA. Gave him a little sip of it. He took it. He almost did a spit take. He says, oh, my God, that's disgusting. It's so bitter. What the hell is that? He says, I thought you liked IPAs. So anyway, you can figure out the rest of the story there, but that's you like orange juice, you don't like IPAs anyway.
Yep.
Anyway, cool. That's great.
Beer, that's all.
Yeah, there's something for everyone.
No, that's right. Well, no, he gave him a New England and that he had there, and he says, "Oh, this is delicious." So he found what he wanted, right? It was just funny that I'm a big IPA fan, and the first thing he takes, he almost spits out.
Well, that's the trend now, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a big trend.
Anyway, all right. I'll just
remember when all IPAs were pretty much either British or American.
Remember that?
Yeah,
American IPAs had to be segmented.
Exactly. All right. I'll give you my second beer here of the evening. I'm gonna throw that up right here. Omegang, they just released this year. Everything Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have to look for that.
It's a Belgian strong golden ale. It's delicious. It's so good.
That sounds good.
So cheers with that one.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers. This is not going to last too long.
Yeah.
The shame of it is my third beer is a 15.1, so I may become incomprehensible by the end of the show, especially if I slip into a fourth beer.
There you go.
So, and if you guys run out, feel free to just walk up to those taps behind you.
Just turn around, fill up, and you're good to go.
Yeah, we've had people just go completely off camera to refill before.
It's enough distance that I actually have to stand up.
That's uncomfortable.
You're good to go. Yeah.
Ocean would not approve. Yeah.
It's all good.
He's got long arms.
Right.
He's a tall guy. So let's talk about. Before you've got your wives involved.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right. So, Jason, you're the taproom manager.
Yeah.
Right. And Damon, you're the head brewer.
Head brewer / kitchen, whatever's needed. I spend most of my time.
Janitor. Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So the better halves, what are their roles in the brewery other than keeping you guys in line?
Well, my wife Megan, she does hosting, she does dishes, she does a lot of our marketing materials and things like that. All of our menu print
designed
stuff.
this place.
She kind of did the interior actual design,
That's awesome.
all that.
Even the logo.
The logo we did. She tried, but we never were happy with, so we ended up going outsourced for that.
There you go.
And Shelly, my wife, she waits on tables. She does
Bartending.
She does
a lot of her office type work as well.
Yeah, a lot of like the accounting sort of stuff. She's recently done a lot of line cleaning. That's
really?
Her job is line cleaning, oiling the bar back.
Yeah.
knows her way around Star San.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was our beer tender while we were there.
Yeah.
And I remember Damon did poke his head out of the bag.
Probably did, yeah.
There you go.
Might have been making some pizzas in the back.
Gotta love it. All right, before we get to the kitchen, all right, you mentioned it took a little longer. When did you actually physically open the brewery?
October 2019. October 10th was our soft opening.
Gotcha. When did you actually commence the, okay, we got the business plan together, let's do this? When was that? Backdating.
2018.
That's when the business was formed. I think we were kind of working on it, but that was the start of like, hey, let's really kick this off and get it going. But I would say we were talking at least probably a year before that, working on the background details.
Gotcha.
Feasible.
So early 2018 or later 2018, Whitman?
I'd say early 2018 is when we for sure were like, hey, let's do everything we can to
let's
get it
do
going.
this.
We don't know if it's going to happen yet or not, but
Gotcha. Fair enough. All right. So now, but before we get any further, let's just put this to bed right now. Why Vulgar Brewing?
That's you.
That's a me story.
I can throw in there, but that's you.
All right. So when I was growing up, my family was the family that all the kids in town, like all my friends, wanted to hang out at my house. And part of the reason was my parents were very loose with their language. They would swear at the dinner table. They would talk about sex and drugs and whatever people wanted to talk about. And it was like nothing was too taboo or off the table to talk about. So that was funny to my friends to see my parents talk about stuff like this. And my friends could talk about things that they couldn't talk about with their own family. So when my wife met them, when I was first dating her for the first time, we left that dinner and I was like, so what did you think of my parents? And she said, the only word I can come up with is vulgar. And I went, that's what I'm going to name my homebrew. Like, that's funny. Like homebrew, like Vulgar Brewing, that's funny. And my parents love it. They think that's funny. My dad goes, that brewery's named after me. Ha ha. And it's like, yeah.
You could have given me
into the origins of the word vulgar a little bit more when we decided like this is actually happening. And the original roots of the word are like from Latin, meaning the common people, the masses, the mob, if you will.
Right.
The unwashed.
Right. So and the upper class used it as a derogatory for the lower class, the vulgarians, and so it became this connotation for not so nice or whatever, But that's kind of who we are. We're kind of just regular Joes sort of thing, and so that's the way that we kind of see it as well. And what?
No, you're fine.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So even in like looking at other things, like the scientific word for barley, I don't remember what it is, but it's something vulgaris. It's like the common grain. It just means like it's your average everyday thing, So that's kind of how we kind of look at it too.
Yeah, we lean a little more onto the like the language of the common people, like the more of that side than the obscene, whatever side.
Yeah.
Obviously, we also fusions. We make jokes. Our beer names, which we'll get to at some point,
Sure.
Has all of that kind of tied in. But we're not actually looking to make a bunch of rude jokes and be in your face offensive and things like that.
We take more like the Looney Tunes sort of Animaniacs sort of approach, where if you're an adult, you kind of see one story, and if you're a kid, you see something else.
Right.
So it's like
SpongeBob is that way
in
too.
the know are you?
Oh, hell yeah.
See the different
Toy
side of
Story,
something.
all those things.
Yeah, exactly.
So I looked it up. It's Hordeum Vulgari,
Vulgar, yeah.
right? Because because now John and I have to act as producers since both of our producers have pretty much abandoned us.
Yeah, I know.
Useless people.
I say we stop. I say we stop paying them.
Yeah, let's stop paying them
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's cut their pay in half. Let's do it their way.
again.
Again.
We quadrupled their pay at one point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you quadruple nothing, it's still nothing. You
It's still
cut it in half, it's still nothing. So, but any of that.
You could have given me 100 guesses as where your brewery name came from. I don't think I ever would have landed on named after Jason's parents.
Yeah, it's after my folks.
Well, you see, I actually knew that before he said it because all you have to do is, read the About Us section on their website.
I'd like to be
And you will learn
surprised.
this.
I'd like to be
Someone did
surprised
some
on this
research.
show.
Gold star for you.
Anyway, that's great. I love it though. It's awesome. All right, so let's get into some discussion about the actual brewery. How big's your brew house? How big a batch is your?
It's a 7-barrel brew house. We have 3 7-barrel fermenters. It's a steam-fired brew house. Kind of pretty.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a basic brew house. It's also my first brew house that I ever worked at the other brewery. Was old dairy equipment that would repurpose everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess since it was
a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. It did its thing, and it's great. But since we were like, it's our money, we want to make sure we do it right from the get-go.
Sure.
Buy at least a decent brew house. Not like we're about some top-of-the-line crazy thing. But beer is our passion. Pizza just happened to be our second passion, I guess, is where it ended up.
Works.
Food. So,
Pizza's always a good thing.
yeah.
Yes.
Pizza goes along good with beer.
Yeah. It's weird how they go hand in hand.
Oddly enough, yeah. So, all right. Let's talk about that. We'll get back to the beers in a second.
Yeah.
We keep bringing it up. We keep touching on this pizza thing. Let's jump into it. Let's jump into the kitchen, so to
Okay.
speak. What was that something you initially definitely wanted to include a kitchen in the brewery, or is that something that came about during the setup, so to speak? Or
I would say it came out due to the New Hampshire laws. We were required at the time, and it's still pretty much a requirement, to sell pints. You had to serve food. And there's a couple different licenses.
Can somebody in New Hampshire please talk to somebody in New Jersey? Because that would be
Oh,
really
New
nice.
Jersey, yeah,
Yeah.
right. But you had to sell food. Now that food could be heated pretzels out of a pretzel warmer. There's definitions. Depends on what you're trying to do.
Right.
But the space we were looking at kind of required us to also. We need to fill the seats. We need to rent. All that fun stuff. All the numbers. Nobody really wants. So we looked at it. We're like, well, we like pizza. It's fermentation. It's similar to beer. It's things we're interested in.
Mhm.
So we kind of went with the full pizza route. We do, I'd say, more New York style pizza, brick deck oven. We do all our own. We pretty much do everything from scratch.
Nice.
You said brick deck oven. Jeez, man.
It sounded like brick dick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
That's the next beer name. I mean, write it down.
There you go.
I don't know about that one.
we'll probably pass on that.
That's
one.
like an in-house kind of joke. So there you go.
Yeah, 2 outfits.
There you go.
So you're drinking the same there, Jason, or did you pour something
No, I
else?
switched it up. I'm drinking Down to Huck. It's our Hellas lager.
Down the.
Down to Huck with an H.
I think that's actually the first beer I had when I was there.
Yeah, it's nice, clean, crisp.
Yep.
Nice.
I like it.
A little bit lower alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Good.
didn't eat. We had already eaten when we were there because we had looped up north around the White Mountains. Came back on the Sacandaga, not the Sacandaga. The the Sacandaga's in Pennsylvania.
Are you the Cucamongas or whatever? I'm probably not saying it right.
It's Kankamangas, the Kankamangas Highway. Came back on the
I'm not
Kankamangas.
native, so I always mess that one up because it's a hard
The Kankamangas. We came, and then because you probably don't get from where you're located, you probably don't get a lot of tourists blowing through town. You kind of have to go a little out of your way to get to Franklin.
There's a lot of tourism, but it's not that same type. It's a lot of there's a good bike trail. There's a good other sort of trails and stuff around here. It's a lot of snowmobiling in the winter.
A lot of
Outdoors enthusiasts. There's a whitewater park in town now, but we don't get the sightseeing in that sense. We get the ones coming to do the bike trails and that sort of thing. So,
cool.
And you get the beer tours.
Yeah, there you go.
yes.
Yeah, so I'd found John knows, and everybody who listens to the show knows that when I travel, the first thing I do is I pin the major attractions of why we're going there. Second thing I pin on my map is all the breweries.
Right.
Which is really odd to me to hear that because the main reason he goes anywhere is for breweries. So as the second thing,
Usually
he pins where he's going and then the breweries.
Actually, sometimes
task.
sometimes the attractions that I want to go to are the breweries. Like when we did Asheville in August,
Well,
so all the breweries got
you go to
pinned
Asheville, that's number one. You go somewhere else that doesn't have as many breweries,
Right.
it might be secondary.
Like in April, we're going to Zion. Not a lot of breweries out there, so
There you go.
it'll be secondary. All three
Sure.
of them.
All 3 of them, right? Exactly. So, all right. What are some of the beers? Talk about your beers.
You mentioned
Talk about
beer
the beers.
names and some of the jokes.
Beer names,
beer
some of the
names.
jokes,
We want
yeah.
to hear this.
Well, I guess what I don't know. Just want to know some of our most popular beers. What beers we like the most.
Yes, and yes.
Talk about them. Yes, absolutely. This is for you. Bring it all out. Bring it out. What are your flagships, your cores, specials, seasonals, whatever?
The ones you look forward to every year.
Right. Yeah.
What we brew mostly is things that we like to drink.
That's pretty much
nothing wrong with that.
What do you want to drink next?
Yeah. What do you want to try to make, or what do you want to do? So we have a lot of. It's just what stuff we like. We don't really brew stuff we don't like, just because we don't like it. We want to drink what we're making. I want to enjoy what we're making. So
yeah, and we've set up a rule of 3 IPAs, sometimes like 4. We sneak in the 4th one, but that's as most that we'll hit. So if we have 4 IPAs on tap, there's no way we're making another IPA until one of those is kicked.
Right. Sure.
We don't want to be tied to that one style, even though it's incredibly popular.
You don't want to be an IPA
for all the other styles of beer. So we come out with a lot of stuff that you don't see a lot of places. Mm-hmm. We have a California Common on right now.
Nice.
The customer who comes in goes, "What is that?" And you have to explain, "Have you had Anchor Steam?" And they go, "No." And you're like, I don't really know how to tell you what this is.
Then I can't talk to you. Get it.
Like a lager, but it's kind of an ale, and I don't know.
Would you like to try?
It's a lager that's an ale,
and it's a little darker than you're used to.
This. Yeah, chase this. Here you go.
So so like we do some different stuff that you don't usually see. California Commons on right now. We're doing a Dunkelweiss coming up.
Yeah, we just did the California Common. We actually infused with Earl Grey tea. We did a 5-gallon batch of that. That turned out great. We may make a bigger batch of that down the road. It has a super interesting aroma that was completely unexpected.
Didn't see that coming.
Nah, so and then really, I mean, yeah, we do. I would say lean toward. Well, I personally lean towards lagers. I love a good lager. Right now, I believe we actually have 3 on. I would have 11 on if that was an option. But we also know we need to make sure that there is beer for everybody. You know, all things that we can cover anyways. So
look, I would be more than happy to drink lagers all day. And I know there's a lot of like-minded people like me. But, you know, to keep the lights on, there needs to be a few IPAs and some other stuff on tap.
You still got to you got to do them well, and you got to have people enjoy them.
I mean, as much as we want to drink lagers, and an IPA is still our favorite beer.
Yeah. So.
Fair enough.
But we are seeing, and I don't know if you're seeing it in New Hampshire as well. We are seeing lagers take more and more of the segment. They're starting to really gain in popularity.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the uptick, if you will, and I love every minute of it.
New Hampshire at this point.
Yeah.
There's so many opening up down this way. There's a couple of lager only breweries.
Well, yeah, we mentioned up in Littleton, Schilling, and the lagers they make.
Sure. That's awesome. Any special beers, specialty beers that you actually come out with every so often? I mean, this is your technically going into your 4th winter, right? 19, 20, 20. Yeah.
Yeah, this would be our 4th winter. Yeah. Like
anything interesting coming up that way?
Vulgar Fest is kind of yearly.
I mean, I think it's kind of a yearly in the last 3 years, 2 years. It's Vulgar Fest, which is our Oktoberfest, which is now on the tail end of the season, our March.
Sure.
We had that while we were there. That was on when we were there.
Yeah, that's one of our favorites. I think another one that does really well and we really enjoy, other than it's always a pain in the butt for us to pour it, is our Belgian Triple, because it's 10%. Everybody's like, is this really 10%? We're like, there's a limit of 2 for a reason.
You have no idea that you're drinking 10%.
Right.
No, it's so good though.
Right. And really, honestly, I would say we don't regularly rebrew the same beer, other than a few cores like Tall Man, Mill City, Down to Huck, the things that we always like to have around. We have a pool, but I just don't want to brew the same thing all the time. I mean, I did production brewery life for a long time. We may get back somewhere into that at some point, but it's just not as fun for me, you know.
Fair enough. Absolutely. No, I got you. All right. What now we talked about the kitchen, we talked about your food, we talked about the pizzas. You guys have a commitment to sourcing local ingredients.
We do
Am I
our
right?
best. Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that just in the kitchen or for both in the brew house too?
No, like our Dunkelweizen that we're talking about is actually all. I think we're at 100% if I look at the grain bill, 99.9 at least of main malt. You know, I mean,
As local as we can get.
New England, obviously, states are small, so it's kind of like one big area. So we're getting it's malted in Maine, grown in Maine, you know, and then milled there and brought to us. So it actually was just delivered today.
Why would you get malts from Maine? There's no good beer comes out of Maine.
Yeah, nobody's ever heard about good beer from Maine.
No, there's no good beer in Maine.
Yeah, who knows? So
Maine Beer Company is pretty good.
yeah, or Allegheny.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
I've heard of
Yeah.
Aloysius.
Yeah.
We had Thistle Brothers there in Maine.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard of them too. I think.
Yeah.
Thistle Brothers. Don't they make vacuums? Thistle
I
Brothers?
think so. Yeah.
That's right.
Anyway.
Yeah. So we do our best to do that. I mean, brewing is a hard world in that sense. Is that I mean, grain is only grown in certain regions. Hops, you know, there's more and more of that, but.
Right.
There's as far as I'm aware, there's little to none in New Hampshire directly grown.
That would be interesting because hops take on the flavor of where they're grown.
Right.
Like we joke all the time that if you grow hops in New Jersey, it's either going to taste like exhaust or pork roll, one of the two.
Well, which kind of pork roll? There's two.
Well, it depends. If you're in northern Jersey, it's Taylor ham. How do you know this?
My mom's from New Jersey.
Oh, there you go.
I knew that one.
Wait a second.
It's like he's starting to explain. He's like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. This is not right.
Nebraska, Texas, and New Hampshire. How the hell do you know?
does he know pork roll? So what would the terroir of hops in New Hampshire be? Do you think it would? Because we get pine out of the Pacific Northwest. I think we'd get pine out of New Hampshire too. Wouldn't we?
I think you would get some green kind of pine aspect. Yeah. I mean, the state is known for its tourism. It's beautiful here. You know, trees. It's part of the reason I really wanted to move to this area is because when we visited them, when we were planning all this, it's just the things I've kind of missed growing up. Not that Nebraska had trees or anything, but the seasons, scenery. You know,
there's corn.
There's a few trees.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So
nice corn. Like a treeless state. Like,
and if Vermont grew hops, it would taste like maple syrup.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would solve a lot of the adjunct, sourcing.
John's favorite adjunct in beer is actually maple.
Maple, absolutely. Yeah. It is not my only, but one of my favorites. Or it is my favorite, but it's there's others that are close. But in any event,
that's so cool that you source locally, and you do source locally in the kitchen as well.
Yeah, again, there we try as much. We've worked a lot with smaller farms here, but. So the weird part is we need enough volume for certain things that we have to do those as specials and things because, when you use ground sausage or something like that, or if you use a specific cut of meat, sometimes the animal only produces so much of that. So they got to figure out what to do with the rest of the animal, Mm-hmm. Ground beef is one thing. It's pretty easy to source local, but if you're only looking for, say you're doing briskets or something like that, you get 2 per cow, what are they going to do with the rest of the cow when you process that cow? So that sort of thing. Right. So we do as much, and we're definitely working on trying to get some more local stuff. I mean, obviously, our wheat for our flour and everything doesn't come local. Nobody grows that in most of North America.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So, what's your favorite pizza
that we make? I would say my personal favorite is either our Thai pizza. We do it's almost like a pad Thai pizza. It's peanut sauce.
Ooh.
It is probably our most unique one, or the other one that we have is it's called a Marceau, which is the park that our patio is in, and it's just mushrooms, feta, garlic, spinach.
Oh, like that. What about you, Jason? What's your favorite pizza?
Did I take both of you?
You took both of mine.
John and I do this. I do this to John.
Welcome to our world. There you go.
Let me look at the menu.
Here's the menu real quick. I don't know.
It's gonna have to be the margarita.
Yeah, our margarita, I would say.
Yeah, I generally get the margarita with a little bit of garlic on it, a little extra garlic on there. But the margarita, the Thai, and the Marceau, I order them at least once a week each. So, and then like the other day is a sausage roll. So it's essentially my whole week every week.
So is the park named after Marcel Marceau?
No, I forget his first name, but it's something Marceau.
Yeah, it's somebody that I believe was a big member of the town back in the day.
Yeah, for a while we were like, oh, we have 3 pizza specials coming out, and there are 3 parks nearby, so we were just like, let's just name them after the
for the parks, certainly.
They're easier to pronounce than the rivers, so let's. And
there you go. Yeah, right.
If you've seen the names of these rivers,
I've seen them.
Know the
I've seen them.
You have the Pemigewasset.
I don't know how to say that.
Most of the reds. I mean, it's not just New Hampshire. It's anywhere in New England.
We had the
Woonamikabikasocket,
and we never did the Odell.
But we didn't do that one yet.
Yeah. So
the Odell
and then the Marceau stuck around because it's our most popular.
Is there an Odell River or is it Park?
It's a park.
Or is it
park.
Odell Beckham from? Never mind.
No, just park. Just park.
Remember, they're not sports guys.
I drew that in there as a joke.
Bring it back.
I know. Anyway. No, it's funny you said, Jason. You said the garlic on a margarita. One of my little tricks for margarita: sliced fresh garlic, margarita pie, sliced fresh garlic, and sparingly, but around the whole pie, fennel sausage.
Oh, nice.
On top of the margarita. I love that. So
just look at
have at it. Feel free to call it the Jersey Johnny. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Pemigewasset.
Yeah.
Pemigewasset.
I mean, you come down even into Connecticut. You got the Housatonic, right?
Yeah.
They just
but everybody says Housatonic. No, it's not Housatonic. It's Housatonic.
Yeah.
Here's the other one. Winnipesaukee.
Yeah.
I
mean,
what's the other one?
There's 3 of them. I can only
it's 3 rivers.
It forms the Merrimack. Those 2 combined to form the Merrimack.
Oh, the Merrimack.
It's called the 3 rivers.
They may have. I think they named a boat after that.
I got Merrimack.
Merrimack. They named the. Yeah, there you go. There's that's 3 rivers. There's another famous 3 rivers somewhere. I'm forgetting where that is. But...
Yeah, somewhere out in Ohio. No, it's Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Yes.
One of the rivers is the Ohio.
One of the rivers is the Ohio. Yes. There you go. Anyway, all right. All right. Well, you know what? I think it's right about time to talk about our top 3s. What do you think?
Well, to segue into that first, you did mention.
Why don't you back up and do that for me?
We're going to back this up a little bit. You did mention some of the names of your beers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were going to.
And I want to get to that, and that'll be a nice segue into the top 3.
That's right. We were going to talk about that. Go for it, yeah.
Oh, what?
That's you guys.
You guys, yeah, not ours.
So you want our 3 list?
No. Before we get there, the beers that you make, you said are kind of like a little tongue in cheek or along the vulgar. Are they on your top 3s?
Actually, none of them are because we wanted to make sure we were good. We only have a couple that actually cover all the way there. We have our California common is called canoodle. I wouldn't say that's super vulgar, but
yeah, we know what canoodling means. Yes.
Yeah. And then I guess our Belgian triple is called Just the Trip, just to enunciate that completely.
Just the trip.
Thank you.
Just the trip. Just the trip.
And I think is there anything else I can think off the top of my head where they're sometimes they're.
I mean, down to huck certainly does sound like something else.
It sounds like it, but it's not. Hucking is a kind of a whitewater or sports term for taking the leap off the edge without necessarily knowing what's.
No, it's down the huck, right?
Down to huck.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Down to huck. Okay, because I was saying down the huck or down.
So it's DT,
down to
it's DTH rather than DTF.
Down to huck. Right.
Yeah. So that was obviously the tongue-in-cheek joke, but hucking is that term about taking the leap off the cliff. Kind of doing that.
Oh yeah, I got you.
Where does the name Mr. Balloon Hands come from?
So that one's actually pretty straightforward. There's a funny internet video that's probably
from the 90s.
Solid, a while ago.
That's old.
It's called Drinking Out of Cups, where some guy animated a lizard to some guy reading commercials, and he just says weird things. But it's hilarious. If you look it up, you'll totally find it hilarious. So Mr. Balloon Hands he's just like, hey, Mr. Balloon Hands.
I didn't think it was funny.
Oh, that's we thought it was funny.
I know you.
That was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I didn't think it was funny.
That is our dynamic. But.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
If you look it up, you might not laugh. Just
what is it again? How would I find this?
Drinking out of cups.
Drinking out of cups.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second. This is not a way to get me to look at 2 girls in the.
No.
Okay.
No, it's a lizard.
I wouldn't drink out of those cups if you paid me.
So, John, did you just open your third?
I just opened my third. Did you open your third?
Oh, I've been sipping on my third.
Right.
My third is a sipper.
Yeah, throw it up there. Let me.
Yeah, because my third is a what I say it is a 15.1.
15.1% Imperial Stout. Yeah.
From Nightmare Brewing in Bay Shore. They brew out of South Shore Brewing or something like that. South Long Island.
South. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, you know the name of the brewery.
I know the name of the brewery.
Yeah, but this beer is called. Yeah, this beer is called Matricide, and Nightmare has got some of the most unique, disturbing labels.
Yeah,
and I think the most. Yeah, just look at this. You got like. Death is like putting a spike through her head and her eyeballs going through, and then you've got. I mean, that's even more disturbing, right there.
Yeah, what is that? It's like
I have no idea.
It makes no sense for it to be there.
I don't know.
Well, to me, that's a nightmare. It's just a bunch of random,
so
weird shit.
If you dream of this face,
I will call you in the morning and yell.
Please, I'll ignore you. So this is an Imperial Stout. It's got almonds, almond paste, lactose, and cold aged on Ecuadorian cacao, Madagascar vanilla, and toasted coconut. And John knows coconut's one of my favorites.
And it's not a pastry Imperial Stout.
The funny thing is, there's lactose in it. This is not sweet. With everything else in it, it really kind of combats that sweetness. The lactose is really just there, I think, to take away probably some of the bitterness out of everything else that's in here.
Right.
Well,
in other words, they use the lactose sparingly just to do its work.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
We've said this on the show many times. Lactose is to beer like salt is to food. You use a little bit, you can enhance the beer, but when you overdo it, you've destroyed the dish, right? Mm-hmm. And the way I look at lactose, if you've changed the mouthfeel of the beer, you've used too much lactose. Straight up. If you can feel the lactose in your mouth, you need to go back to the drawing board. You've screwed it up.
I've had a fruited sour with lactose in it before, where the entire inside of the glass, forget about lacing, the entire inside of the glass was just coated in pink lactose,
or a milk mustache.
Right. So, but it's as if you were drinking milk. So anyway, I'll throw it up there. My third. Thank you. Is
two beers he can't count.
St. Bernardus.
Oh wow. Yeah,
and you got it. You
cans these days. Yeah, that's nice.
You found it in cans. I had a last show in a bottle.
You did. There you go. So this is one of my favorites right here every year. So okay, cheers.
Cheers.
This is what my number 2 on my Christmas beer list.
St. Bernardus. Yes, it is. Yep. So, wow, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, if you will. Not to foreshadow one of Dave's beers, but on that note, let's move on to our top threes. Our top 3 lists this week. And as you know, and they obviously may not, our top 3 list, we do a top 3 list. Why do we do a top 3 list? When we first started the show, before we started having guests on about 2.5 years ago, it was just Dave and I. So we decided to do a top 3 list, paying homage to 1933, the repeal of Prohibition, 33, 2 3s, our 2 top 3 lists. So that and a top 10 list would take too long. So anyway, so tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite beers with vulgar or interesting names. Top 3 favorite beers with vulgar or interesting names. You guys, whoever wants to go first.
You didn't talk about the interesting. I just went straight up vulgar.
Well, yeah. I mean, I did too. But in any event, so have at it. Whoever wants to go first, you guys are up on deck. Go ahead, go first.
I mean, we did our top 3 our names because relevant to us. I don't know if you guys did top 3 of our names. There's only so many of our names. So we'll start with so we have a beer called Man Person.
Okay.
Not really vulgar. It's just interesting. We went the interesting aspect. I guess I'll let you tell that story.
All right. So we tend to take like
experiences,
particularly negative experiences, and turn them into positives. So we had a customer come in, didn't like their pizza, and walked out, didn't pay. And I just kind of asked them, hey, you still need to pay for the beers that you drank, even if you don't like your pizza. And they didn't, got in their car, drove away. They later on sent us like a cashier's check.
Like an actual letter, like a mailed letter. Yeah.
Wow. Saying, addressed to Mr. Redbeard Man.
And man person.
Man person.
And
Redbeard man and man person.
I know the owners really well, and this is terrible. And I was like,
Huh?
Redbeard man and man person are the owners, and you don't know our names. So we ended up naming a beer man person.
We haven't used Redbeard man yet.
Yeah, Redbeard man.
Oh, you have to.
You've got to.
Yeah.
You got to do like a hoppy rye red.
Yeah.
Something.
Irish red,
Yeah.
something Redbeard man will come out at some point.
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was one that we were like,
And if
all right, that's a little different.
If you tie into that same theme, we have a beer called Noise. It was an English brown ale. It comes from, we have actually had 2 reviews to say that. So we don't have ice. We're not really a full restaurant, and so if you look at the review and it says no ice, Noise is kind of the, if you put it together, it's Noise. So it's kind of a reference to that, because it's like, a lot of people's like, oh, we don't have ice for the water, all these things. It's like, that's not what we do.
We don't sell water.
Yeah, we give you water, but we don't have drinks. We don't really have those sort of things. We're a brewery, pizza joint, have a couple of sodas, that sort of thing. So again, none of our beers are going to go into the vulgar world. The last one is kind of one that's a little bit personal, at least for me, and just for a good cause. We have a beer called Biscuit Pants. So it's a funny name. It's hilarious to say. It's our Ales for ALS beer. And so we were trying to come up with some sort of Lou Gehrig-based name, which has been used a million times because a lot of breweries participate in that program.
Sure.
According to the master of Google, that was a nickname that Lou Gehrig had because he filled out his pants. He had biscuit pants. So we use Biscuit Pants for our Ales for ALS. We do that every year, generally around the spring, summertime. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah, none of those were super vulgar. And
hey, it's all good. It's all good.
Like just the trip that we talked about earlier is like probably our most vulgar.
It's probably the closest to that line.
I gotcha. Are these both of yours, or are those yours, Damon and Jason?
We did them together. We weren't sure how you wanted it, so.
I'm going to. There you go. No, I put it all there, and we're making just the trip your honorable mention.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's acceptable.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Dave, give us yours.
We even though we do top 3s, John and I always throw in honorable mentions. I got to throw in a couple of honorable mentions. One of these I've had out in Utah. Wasatch Brewing does a beer called Polygamy Porter.
Yep.
Oh, such a good beer, and I had to give that a nod. My other honorable mention I'll mention later when I mention actually my number 1, because it's by the same brewery.
Sure.
But my number 3, and John knows very well, I rarely go 3-2-1. I usually find ways
almost
not
never
to.
does.
I'm going to today. Number 3 is by God. Why can't I remember the name of the brewery? It's down in Tennessee. No, Kentucky. It's in Kentucky. It's the beer's called Brown. No, John,
Okay.
pull the label up there.
I think that's Oklahoma, actually.
It's no. It's Kentucky. It's
It is Kentucky. It is Kentucky.
It's against the grain.
Yeah.
It's against the grain, right? Against the grain. They call it against the grain because the brewery is in the same building where they make Louisville Sluggers.
It's like right out of Mad Magazine.
Yeah. So John's going to pull.
If you don't mind, I'm going to take this down now. Okay.
You're gonna take this
Those
down.
Those of you listening to the audio portion of the podcast, if you don't know what the Brown Note label looks like, 1 hour and 3 minutes into the podcast,
You never popped it up, John.
Oh, it's up.
It's up.
Oh, I can't see it. Why can't I see it?
I have no idea, but it's been up for about 45 seconds. So.
Wow, it did not show up on my screen.
Here, let me take it off and put it up again. Let's see if
that is strange.
Here, try it again. Do you see it?
There
now?
it is.
It was up.
There.
It was up the whole time.
Yeah, no, I didn't see that. Anyway. What's weird is I cannot, John, I told you my number 2. I can't remember my number 2. Do you remember my number 2?
I don't remember your number 2.
It's not the sweet. Oh, yes, I do remember number 2. It's from Left Hand Brewing.
Oh, okay.
And it's Left Hand Brewing. It is a reference to something that is said in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The beer is called The Stranger.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. And he says, I like to sit on my left hand until it goes numb. That's why when I pleasure myself, it feels like somebody else is doing it. And when you look at the label art for that, I didn't tell John to download it for it. You will see it is an outline of a figure, and his left hand is in front of him. So take a close look at that label. I'm not sure everyone understands that The Stranger is actually quite a dirty reference.
Right.
But my number one, and I'll go to the honorable mention first, and Sweetwater Brewing out of Georgia. And apparently these guys have some dirty friggin' minds. Their Imperial Stout, they made an Imperial Stout called Happy Ending. So considering that was the honorable mention, my number one, and I really think this was... this is probably one of the most vulgar ones, especially considering the way they describe the beer. It was called Motorboat. And they said, we start with 2 big mounds of hops you just want to get your face in the middle of. So that's about as vulgar as you can get and get away with it.
There you go.
And so that's my number one right there, Motorboat by Sweetwater.
There you go. All right. I'll give you mine. I'll give you an honorable mention first, just one, because it's the same brewery as my number 3. My honorable mention is from Flying Dog Brewing. It's a Belgian IPA, Raging Bitch. Right.
And I love this beer because they won a lawsuit against the ABC of Michigan.
Michigan, yeah.
Because the ABC of Michigan was not going to allow it in because of the name. And Flying Dog proved in court that you're the ABC. Your job is not to censor. It's to control alcohol. So they won. So
they won
to them.
There you go. But my number 3 from Flying Dog is their oyster stout entitled Pearl Necklace. So there you go. There you go. That's my number 3.
Not a lot of explanation needed there.
Exactly. My number 2 is from a brewery out in Victoria, British Columbia, actually, Hoyne Brewing. It's their Dunkelbach that they make every year. It's called Big Bach, but they changed it because of some brushback. When they originally brewed this beer, it had a rooster on the label, and it was called Big Cock Bach.
Oh, well, yeah, I can see that.
I think I've actually heard about that one. Yeah.
Right. So that's my number 2. And number 1, and definitely, I'm sure you guys don't know this, local in Jersey here is Icarus Brewing. They're not too far from me here. They've been around for quite some time now. The sixth anniversary is coming up. 7th anniversary is coming
Seventh,
up. Sorry,
seventh.
And they're right in Lakewood, New Jersey, right over here.
Jason's been at it much longer than them, though.
Oh yeah, no, he brewed in other breweries too and everything else. But in any event, they did a collab that they released another version of. But they did a collab. First time they did it was back in 2017. They've done it a few times since then. It's a fruited New England IPA, and it's fruited with blueberries, and it's got a blue tinge to it. It's actually almost like a purple blue tinge to it. But it's called I Just Blew Myself. Is the name of the beer. So BLUE. Blue.
That is a talent.
Yeah.
That sounds appropriate.
There you go. So that is my number. That is my number 1 for favorite beers with vulgar names. So there you go. How about it? So, well, there you go. On that note, not a brown note, mind.
Not the brown one.
Not the brown.
Now black.
Or blue.
Now black note. Black note is a delicious beer, but that's from Bell's.
Yes. Well, that is a damn good beer.
That is a great beer.
Oh, I haven't seen that in ages.
It is such a good beer. But in any event, I digress. All right. What's coming up on the docket, if you will, for Vulgar? Beers wise, maybe events over the holidays or the winter?
Yeah, we don't really have any events. I mean, the Dunkelweiss that we're talking about, name to be determined. We're very loose with our names. We'll figure it out after I brew it, most likely. And then I think the other one is we're working on. We've done this one a few times. It's a kind of a sour project. It's about time. It's the reason we don't do more like a regular barrel fermented, barrel conditioned sour. And that's something that we're getting ready to do again. We're hitting the slower season where we can actually take a little extra time to do that.
Play around a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, we have the time to not just try to keep up with keeping our tap,
Sure.
basically. So.
I got you.
You talk about the slow season. You don't have any events coming up. Is it because you measure snow in feet where you are, or
Pretty much.
Once it gets cold and the snow hits, yeah, definitely people want to go out less, and I don't blame anyone.
Oh no, absolutely. I'll tell you, there's nothing like going to a local brewery when there's a foot or two of snow on the ground, if you can get around safely, mind you. But
yes,
yeah, absolutely, there's nothing like it. On that, let me switch gears really quick. I'm going to jump back to something. Are you guys distributing it all? Do you have beer out in market, or is everything 100% out of the tap room?
I would say it's pretty much 100%. We've done a few keg releases to certain places, but for most of the summer, we have just not had the capacity to keep up. And so we've done some. We're doing changes. We've done some changes at some cold space. We've rented some more space. So we're hoping to keep continuing to grow and move forward, that sort of thing. So.
Right, a little bit like south and west of you. You've got an Irish pub opening, or have they opened?
No, are we sure with directions now? Because Dave, you in the east with Tilton and south and west.
I'm sorry. I like maps.
He was correct though. Yeah, it's supposed to hopefully open this weekend. They run in, as of everything, they run into problems. So they
are you putting your beer in there or?
No, we've all talked about it, and they don't think it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to cross the street, that sort of thing. Unless we had a lot of extra capacity, I think they'd take it because they have different hours and things than we do.
We do a special event.
Yeah, like a special beer, special event, or do a beer specifically for them, that sort of thing. But yeah, they come in all the time, actually. So
nice, very nice. So, all right, what's in store for Vulgar next year coming up? Anything? Any plans to do anything interesting? Not interesting, but newer, a little bit bigger, whatever. Anything?
I mean, we have leased some space. Nobody would know unless you've been here, but in the parking lot behind us is a big revitalization of a mill building going on. That we leased some space that we're hoping to do some fooders, some sour projects, and barrel aged.
Nice.
That's kind of more in our wheelhouse.
More of a warehouse kind of thing that you're going to use for
storage and extra production and that sort of thing.
Racks and barrels and stuff like that over there. And gotcha. Nice, very nice. Love a good food or aged beer. Nothing like it. Cool. And
true sours in that area would be nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything long range that you guys are looking to do that you want to let out of the bag, or nothing too far down the road?
We are always kind of playing it a little bit day by day. We have a long-term goal, but we don't have anything major in the works, that sort of stuff. So.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, I love Flip the Bird. That's awesome. That's for certain. By the way, go ahead. What?
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I didn't mention it before. I wore my sweaty balls, because I'm drinking Christmas ale tonight. Wear my sweaty balls T-shirt. It's a vulgar name, but it's the season, right?
That's a great skit.
And on SNL, yeah.
I need to pee.
Yeah, that happens on the show a lot, actually.
All the time, as a matter of fact.
And I wore the most vulgar shirt I could find.
Oh my God!
This is a vulgar plug for our sponsor. Actually, it's what it is. So that's about as vulgar. It's also these guys. So Golden Brew Works. But yeah, actually, pee breaks are quite common on the show.
Always. We've actually had when we've had 3 guests on the show, so there was 5 of us on the show. The 3 guests and Dave were all off peeing while I just held them.
It was a good show. We drank a lot of beer on that show.
Yeah, we did.
We've picked up on AirPods. We've picked up one guest peeing on a rock out in his backyard.
Yeah,
and we've actually had one guest.
He never muted his mic. He's listening to us talk, but he was talking too. Yeah. And he went out in his backyard and went to tree number 2. We had one guest actually pee in a bottle on the show and try to pass it off. Yet we could hear the zipper. He was pouring a beer down below screen. Sure. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. I believe that. Right. Thank you very much.
Tag me in.
Tag. You must be close. He didn't even ask you if you washed your hands when he asked you to tag him in.
I did, but it's quick.
All employees must wash their hands.
Wash hands, right? Exactly.
And it's probably a good idea if you do too.
Always, it's a good idea.
It's always a good idea.
Sorry.
So while before we end the show, before we wrap it up, while Jason is using the facilities, what's your capacity? You said is 3 7-barrel fermenters.
Yeah, so we have 3 7-barrel fermenters, 7-barrel brew house.
Right.
Mainly, our biggest problem has been cold storage space because we keg everything based on our setup. So we added a walk-in shipping container outside that we turned into.
I got you.
That has helped quite a bit. So
now, clearly, you're canning. Are you using a mobile canning line? You got your own canning line? You got a
no mobile canning here is either batch sizes are tough, or scheduling is for us is almost impossible.
Getting them out there.
Well, Ironheart does go up that way. Ironheart does make it up that way. So
yeah, so we got a small little canning line, like a Wild Goose Gosling. You probably have heard of it if you're into it.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Does about 7 to 8 cans and 16-ounce cans a minute, and we're just doing it all in house in that sense. So
there you go. That's good. And you're just selling them out of the brewery too.
Just selling those out of the brewery, and I don't see cans changing anytime soon. You know,
no, for people to have that they come there, they have their favorites, they want to leave it a 4-pack, they can do so.
Right.
They've got their chill chest, and
yeah, absolutely, nothing wrong with that. Absolutely,
they've got their. I think John Hall's is actually bigger.
John Hall's might be a little bit. Yeah, well, I mean, look, that's not saying anything. That's not what John's is ridiculous. Stupid big for a house fridge.
I don't know if you've heard of John Hall. He's a national syndicated columnist, and he's got he's 3 podcasts now?
3 podcasts. Steal This Beer and a couple others, and
we're going to have him on the show.
January 10th he'll be on. We're doing a smoked beer show that night.
I like it. Yeah, we have our smoked beer was I said beach.
No. It was I said beach.
Real scared. I don't know if you've ever.
Wait a second. Is it BEECH? Do you?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So that one's going to be a lot of fun. And if you go on Facebook and find the page This Week in Rausch Beer,
okay,
that is his page. And
that page was born from a dare by Augie Carton. I can say it once. He's nowhere near.
Don't say his name 3 times.
Say it 3 times. Well, he's on the show.
He's like Beetlejuice.
You say his name 3 times, he pops up on the show.
Yeah.
I can say it one more time. Augie Carton Brewing. There you go.
I didn't. What? No.
That was well played, Jason.
There you go. Should have waited till I said it the second time, and then I said that. Right.
Then you could have,
Then you could have, and then because this is what normally happens when that happens. I just throw this picture right up.
Boom! There he is. There's the son of a bitch.
So he dared John to make that Facebook page while they were out at Bierstadt during a CBC. During Great American Beer Fest.
Yes, JBF.
So we did it, and now it's blown up. It's this huge thing. So,
and what's weird, if you look at now the top 50 beer styles as reported by Untapped, Rausch beer for the first time has cracked the top 50.
That is surprising. It is
right.
Yeah, and that style owes that cracking of the top 50 to
John Hall.
John Hall. Well, and the man who should be named,
which we will not say again.
We won't say again, right? So, anyway.
And we've actually seen more and more breweries. And remember, I started the show with a Rausch. This is a Rausch. More and more breweries are brewing this, and I think because it's getting so much interest, because people want to be involved in this page. Mm-hmm. So many people are out there. They drink a smoke beer. They post it up there. I know I'm guilty of being an attention whore for this. I will post it up there because I enjoy it.
I've done it a bunch too. Anytime I've had a Rausch beer, it goes right up.
It goes right up there. So it's I really think it's becoming almost a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense.
Very much.
Right.
If it involves Rausch beer, that's good.
Yeah.
It's like the stock market. It's like the stock market.
Exactly. And I wasn't gonna say this on the show, but talk about I can say the name of the brewery, Carton Brewing, and talk about the first brewer of Carton Brewing,
Jesse Ferguson.
Right, and he now is the owner of Interborough Brewing in Interborough Ales and Spirits and Ales. In Williamsburg in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we have a guy on our staff that actually has DJ'd at that brewery.
Oh yeah, and
really?
Well, it's funny because Jesse before beer, Jesse was a rap producer.
Yep.
Yes.
So yeah, it's
so amazing. The guy on staff is a rap DJ.
No, he just does like actual DJ turntables. He's huge into pizza. He moved here from New York. That's why he applied.
There you go. Nice. But my question, based on talking about Interborough and Jesse, Dave. Does Jason look like he could be related?
He looks a little like Jesse. Yeah,
there you go.
Looks a little like Jesse. He looks like almost.
He looks you, Jason. Yes,
almost a little buffer.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. There you go.
He's been working out. Yeah.
Not that Jesse Ferguson's not buff.
I've been losing a lot of weight drinking beer and eating pizza. So
it's because Jesse doesn't have pizza at his brewery. There's the difference, right?
But Jesse is actually quite buff himself. But you've got more.
How about they look alike? How's that?
They look alike.
There you go.
But I'm buffer.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Jess is going to kill me. I'm
Definitely
not allowed in his brewery again.
Right. Well, I may be seeing him on Friday, so I'll let him know. But
you see him on Friday. If you see him on Friday, if I see you before that, I got something to give him for his daughter, by the way.
Yeah. For his daughter. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you definitely. I'm not going to say you're doppelgangers. You could be, but I mean, it's close. But you're definitely related. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever the
DNA path is.
Yeah, exactly. So you definitely look.
If you do 21 and me and he pops up, we're not going to be surprised.
23 and me actually.
Yeah.
21 and me is something else.
Oh, that's called. Is that called barely legal?
Is he dying? And is he rich?
There you go. Right, exactly.
I don't know. He runs a brewery. How rich do you think he is?
You're right. Not related.
Rich. Well, it's in the sense of the word. You're rich in
friends that want
beer.
Right, exactly.
And in friends that want free beer.
French.
Right, right, French. Right, there you go. Anyway, all right. On that note, guys, anything you guys want to add to this?
I don't think anything. I think we covered anything. We kind of just came on to do it. I'm not here to we're not here to talk about anything other than what you guys want to talk about.
Fair enough.
We were here to talk about you. So if there's anything about you guys, the brewery.
Just if you're ever in the area, come visit, man. That's all we're here about.
I definitely got to get up there. That's for certain. I got to visit.
It's such a neat spot. It really is.
I got to get up
there. Just Flip, do you have anything to add?
Flip, anything?
He doesn't say a lot. No,
he's really stoic, isn't he?
Yeah,
quiet, silent type.
Yeah, he's very stoic. Yeah,
and what you can't see there is he's carrying a big stick.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
And a 4-pack.
And a 4-pack. There you go. That's great. All right. Well, if that's it, Dave, anything?
Huh?
Anything you're adding? You good?
I'm drinking a 15.1% stout. You think I have anything to add?
Because I want you to say something after you're drinking that.
I've got this much left, but the thing is, because it was Nightmare, I had drank it on my burial glass, and I just love this glass.
There you go.
That is a Nightmare going on right there. I love it.
That's great. All right, gents, don't go anywhere. We'll talk to you after the shows. After we sign off the show, stick around for 1 minute. We'll wrap up the show.
God, I just drink some water
for today. You should actually. All right. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.lagerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Lager Room. Remember, we go live with the video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again,
unless you want to,
right? Of course. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week, guys. Jason, Damon, thank you for coming on the show. It was a great show. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Dave will get back up there. I got to get up there soon. I'll let you know we're coming up, and we'll definitely hook up. But anyway, like I said, have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Have wonderful holidays. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we'll talk to you soon, folks. Take care. Cheers.
Quick PSA.
Quick PSA. Go ahead.
Don't eat this.
Don't eat pudding spam.
I don't think I needed the PSA.
That's kind of common knowledge, I think, except for you.
Blame Starodumsky on this. I've already yelled at him.
You've already yelled at him. That's fine. All right. Cheers, folks.
Take care.
Cheers.
Yeah.